Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards and the Best SME Awards. And today I'm joined by two exceptional women who live and breathe resilience, leadership, and high performance. Skye Deane is a former British Army officer and clinical physiotherapist turned resilient leadership coach. With over 18 years' experience working in high pressured environments, from military deployments to elite sport, Skye now supports leaders to build confidence, clarity, and well-being so they can lead without overwhelm. She's also the founder of Skye Deane Consulting and co-founder of Resilient Women Leaders, an international best-selling author and a passionate advocate for developing people at every stage of their life and career. Alongside her is Alex Webb, who is a business and leadership behaviour consultant with a fascinating career spanning education, events, sports, media, entrepreneurship, and technology. Alex works with individuals, teams, and organisations to optimise performance through self-awareness, resilience, and leadership development. She's also an international best-selling author, co-founder of the award-winning Resilient Women Leaders, and has designed and delivered programs for some of the UK's most recognisable organisations, from global brands to early career talent. Together, Skye and Alex bring a powerful mix of real-world experience, insight, and energy. And today, we're diving into what it really means to lead with resilience. And we're also going to talk about their award wins and their plans with their business too. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to see you again because the last time I saw you both, you were collecting your silver trophy at the Best Businesswomen Awards for Best Business, which is an incredible achievement. That's amazing. How did that feel?
It was brilliant, Debbie. Thank you so much for having us today. Yeah, it sort of just summed up the last 5 years from when we set up Resilient Women Leaders 5 years ago. And it was just a lovely end. We ended the year completely actually in November with our 5 year anniversary party in London. So it just summed up that period of reflection was so important for us to sort of think about our journey and what has been before and what's going to happen next.
How exciting. And what about you, Alex? It was a lovely evening, wasn't it?
It was a great evening and a brilliant opportunity to meet so many amazing women. I think that's what Skye and I left the evening feeling, was that real buzz of positivity. And we've since connected with quite a few of those women that were on our table and kind of in the room. So yeah, it was such a lovely event to be involved with.
Oh, thank you. So, on the Business Awards show, we always like to enlighten our listeners about your business journeys and sort of what brought you to where you are today. So, as there's two of you, we're going to go to each of you to talk about those journeys. So, Skye, do you want to tell us, what your journey was? Because what an exciting career to be part of the British Army, and what brought you to your business today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Debbie. So my journey, as you said, started in the British Army, but it started a bit before that, really. I'm a sister to two other. I've got a brother and a sister, and granddaughter and all that. And I'm part of a larger military family as well. So the military has always been a huge part of my life as a grandchild, as a daughter of, and the Armed Forces unity has always been something very close to my heart. As you mentioned, I'm a physiotherapist by trade as well, and helping people to be at their best has always been part of my journey. And I thought, why not combine physio with the military? So I joined the army because I was also really passionate about sport. I was an all-rounder at school, and the army provided opportunity to do adventure training, do sport, do my role as a physiotherapist, and be as part of a team, essentially, which I've always loved to do. And it was during my time in the military with deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan that my love, and it was always my catalyst, I would say, about well-being and resilience. And I was really fortunate to support soldiers in the military who had some really life-changing injuries. I was fortunate enough to work at Headley Court, where individuals had really life-changing injuries, not just for them, but also the impact on their families. And so my sort of real spark of interest around resilience what it means to be at your best. I sort of changed my narrative. It's about optimizing your role, reaching your full potential based on where you are at. So that was the catalyst, really. And, I think one of my highlights of that was then seeing some of our patients representing Great Britain in the Paralympic Games. And it was just so wonderful to see their journeys over that time. But during my time in the military, I was very serving in nature, and I was sort of hitting a point of burnout myself, not looking after myself, always this yes person, the person that would always say yes to any opportunity. And I sort of just realised that there was needed to be a bit of a shift. So I went through a sort of self-development journey, if you like. I also married into the military. So my husband's a serving officer as well, and we have 2 small children. And it was during a period where I was on maternity that I kind of lost my identity. I lost my purpose. I'd lost who I was. And I went on this transformational journey using the Resilient Leaders Elements framework, for which I'm an accredited Resilient Leaders consultant now. And it was through that process that I realised, in talking to lots of different people, that I wasn't alone, that as a woman, as a mum, as a daughter, a sister, we experience these times of lacking confidence, maybe an imposter syndrome. And the tools that I was using as part of my own journey, I felt I wanted to support others with. So you say that my journey is very different now. And obviously I said, like working as a team, and I'm now running my own business, but I work with people like Alex. We've collaborated with Resilient Women Leaders, so still feel very much part of a team. But yeah, so slightly different journey, but so much crosses over with the lessons that I learned from the military, from deploying in Afghanistan and Iraq, how to, perform under pressure, how to make sure you are at your best and thriving, not merely surviving. And for me, it was finding that purpose. I'm still serving others. I'm still serving and supporting others to be the best version of themselves, just in a slightly different label, if you like.
Wow, that's really fascinating. Lovely. Right. Alex, what about you?
Well, it's always I love following Skye, because we are so different. And from military, I started in teaching. So we have a connection of sport, which I think run through so many of the collaborations and people I work with. We are, our sport lovers, players, coaches, whatever. So I started as a PE teacher. And but when I got there, I realised I wanted to kind of know more about the world, and that then took me into sport, TV, media, sort of Channel 4 shows. We were quite a successful small business that I ended up working with, but we got bought out. So we were doing shows for triathlon, for mountain biking, for snowboarding, windsurfing, surfing. At one point, one of my roles was to look after the top 40 surfers of the year, which was quite delightful, because I ended up in Hawaii. But again, I speak a lot to young people, and it's like, who knew that was a job when I was at school? And it's the same for them. There's so many jobs out there that people don't know about yet. So that was kind of a real journey for me. But we got made redundant because we were quite successful. We were bought out. And that was my first, where do I go now? So I talk a lot about my very squiggly career, but I went into the events industry because a recruitment agency found that my skills, or just wanted a place which was fun and lively and had a good culture. And it was, again, a small business. And that's what I've done for every step of the way. I've worked in small businesses where I've been able to add value. I'm a real doer, get things done, love a list. I'm a safe pair of hands. And I moved my way through the events industry, got headhunted over to an experiential marketing agency, where I think the job I'm most proud of is for Sky TV, when we brought to life 36 of their channels, all their channels, 36 events, interactive events in the city of Manchester, for over one weekend. And we had about 250,000 people. And I was the events director. And it was just an amazing experience, surrounded by celebs and the PR and the marketing, but also event teams and production. So that was great. I then, after that year, stopped and had a family, and I knew I couldn't get back into the events industry. And I think my next squiggle was because of, I needed to find work. I knew I was a better mum for working than for being at home. but who I needed to find a role that maybe 2 to 3 days a week. And everything happened now from my networks. I got pulled in. Someone was working with one of the dragons from Dragon's Den and pulled me in. They needed a program director. I was a safe pair of hands, made things happen. So did that for a few years. Son number 2, decided not to go back because I had a family. I had a husband who traveled a lot, so I needed to be home for my children. And then went into working with SMEs, so small, medium enterprises, fast growth companies, supporting their CEOs, get investment. So we used to do entrepreneurs missions overseas, Brazil, America, India. And again, I was running those events, building the agendas, making it happen. But it was at that time, again, like Skye said, I had a shift. My confidence dipped. We lost our funding because there was a government change. And the people I was working with had a different purpose to me, which I now know. I just thought it's because who would employ, a mum of 2 or 3 days a week. I didn't understand about values or transferable skills. And that's when I came across, again, Resilient Leaders Consultants, became a Resilient Leader Consultant. My journey into leadership through working with young people, working for the Prince's Trust, running leadership programs for them, for their youngsters. Then I decided, my sporting background, I used to be a coach, international coach for netball, played internationally as well. That sport and business connection, and that's my sweet spot. And that's what found me sort of where we are today, meeting Skye back in 2020, I think, I believe. Yeah, that's when we started.
How did you two meet?
We were both Resilient Leaders Consultants.
Right.
So I was slightly before Skye. And within the consultancy, there's an amazing community. And we had a community of practice that wanted to bring the Resilient Leaders Elements framework to more women. There was quite a few of us that came together. And that time we ran some research into, right, what are the kind of key barriers that are preventing women from reaching their full potential? And the group, we came up with from the research 7 key barriers. And Skye and I happened to be on one of those meetings. We met weekly at first. And Skye and I, at one point, were the only 2 in that community of practice that showed up. And then we decided to do something with it. And that's pretty much what started IWL. We were like, well, let's just try it. Let's do it. Let's use this information because we know that women, we are affected by them. And the 3 biggest barriers are imposter syndrome, lack of confidence in being heard. And they were all things that we had experienced, and we'd used the framework to pull us back to more confident individuals. And that's kind of what lit the kind of the spark, created that spark to creating Resilient Women Leaders.
It's so needed what you're doing. It's so needed. So let's come back to you, Skye, and talk about, what does resilience mean to you and to the people that you work with?
The resilience to me and to us, I think, Alex and I speak it, I'm the one speaking it, but I know that Alex believes it too, is that actually resilience is about knowing who you are. It's about knowing what your strengths are. All too often, we sometimes go to the things that we're not very good at, but actually resilience is about knowing our strengths, knowing when we can step forward and take action and take control, but also knowing our areas for development so that we can step back and allow other people a real supportive environment. It's also, for me, around, and we talk a lot about recognizing when you go from pressure to stress, and knowing when to rebalance. So if you're up there, how do we then rebalance? For me, it's about also bouncing back, bouncing forward so that you can find the opportunity, whether it's in times of calm, whether it's in times of crisis. We talk about an uncertainty spectrum. Where are you at any given moment? And ultimately, to have that, we need to, we've shared that we're Resilient Leaders Consultants. We use a framework called the Resilient Leaders Elements. And we talk about confidence in who you are. So knowing who your authentic self is, leading by your values, being really intentional with how you show up, recognizing how, your awareness of yourself, but also having confidence in what you do. So having that vision, that goal, the doing bit, the task, the decisions that we have to make. So resilience covers the kind of who you are and what you do. And when you're able to live authentically by your values, being in a supportive environment where you can be at your best, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to be really clear about where you want to go. So resilience, it's not just it is a buzzword at the moment. It's being used quite a lot, but actually resilience isn't just about stretching the elastic bands and bouncing back. It's actually about bouncing forward really purposefully, intentionally, really thinking about what do you want to be known for? Why would people choose to follow you? And actually it's who you are and what you do. That's why people choose to follow you, and we'll go into more detail around that. But yeah, that's resilience to me.
That's amazing. That's really good explanation. So, Alex, let's talk about these pressure and stress points and triggers and all of these things, because you have some tools to help people. But I mean, how do we go about recognizing where we are in that situation?
We often, as Skye's mentioned, sort of that urgency spectrum, that pressure to stress. We often think about we are moving up and down pressure to stress spectrum all the time. I mean, even in one day, we could be going from I'm feeling as though I'm quite coping here to oh my goodness, it's absolute chaos. So if you think about a spectrum starting at I'm coping, then we go to pressure. Then we're into kind of overwhelm, and then we can kind of get into burnout. If we stay in overwhelm for too long, we can then reach burnout, which, we've worked with a few clients who are in burnout. We often say, if you have got to burnout, there's a bit of work you need to do prior to kind of working with us. But that overwhelm, and it's such a good image to have. We just this morning, actually, we were running a workshop, and the first thing we did was say, right, pulse check. Where is everybody at the moment on this spectrum? How many, are you coping, pressured, or an overwhelm? And we often get people to do a bit of a lineup. Where are you? And we can kind of see what is it that's forcing you, pushing you there, and what do you need in support to help you come back down again into more coping. So just that can be so helpful, because I'll often go, okay, I'm in overwhelm. I can name it and articulate it. Right, then I go, what do I need to do to get myself back? And I have a go-to sort of few tips and tools that I use to help me go back into pressure and then get back into coping. So that's a really easy just process to go through. Where am I on this spectrum? And when some of the work programs that we do, it's helping discover for yourself, how do you get yourself back down? So there's lots of things, as Skye talking about, is who I am and what I do. If you understand who you are at your best, a great activity, a great question to ask yourself. Who am I at my best? What am I doing? Who am I with? What's the environment I'm in? What's the type of work I'm doing? And then start listing what helps me get there, be that person. And then what stops me, what hinders me from being that person. That kind of exercise, again, is really helpful to go, hold on. If I want to come back down into coping, I just need to do something that helps me now be my best, rather than, maybe reduce the gin and tonics on a weeknight, because that may hinder me being my best. But it's just things like that: more sleep, more exercise, more water, having more clarity. What is it that you need to help bring you back down? So that's a really simple example of being able to be in control of your movement up and down that spectrum.
And Alex, are you seeing more leaders suffering with burnout in the current climate?
I wouldn't say more. I think people are becoming a little bit more aware of what burnout actually is. That whole tiredness, not getting out of bed. And I've lived through my husband suffered really, really bad corporate burnout, and it's taken him 5 years to kind of recover. So I'm living it. I have lived it for the last 5 years of helping him get back to where he needs to be. Yes, I am seeing a lot of women and men. What we try and do is help people see what overwhelm looks like, so that we can stop them going into that burnout and get them before giving them the tools so that they can recognize it. For us, it's all about awareness. The more aware you are, you can start doing little things, change your behavior, change your internal narrative. That can also help you get down. So yes, there is a lot more. I think people are more aware of it, because there's a whole mental health conversation that goes on. So I think that has increased the awareness of it as well.
Skye, what's your
thought? Can I add? And I think, following on from what Alex is saying, because of that more awareness, and we've got amazing networks now, the community that you've set up through your award system, people are in the room more, whether it's online or face to face. People are more comfortable now being vulnerable. And I think there's a piece around vulnerability and realizing they're not alone, that, you know, a problem shared is a problem half. Well, actually, we're seeing that now. And having people like yourselves and people in that room in October sharing their stories, sharing their inspirational stories, people resonate and go, do you know what? If I always do what I always did, I'll always get what I always got. I'm going to take action now, take control of what I can control. And having that awareness allows us to acknowledge and then take action to rebalance. Like Alex was saying, actually, on that pressure to stress, what do I need to rebalance so that I can go again and be at my best? So I think through the work that you're doing and people all around us, the communities and the ability for people to talk and realise they're not alone, it is far superseded to sort of 10 years ago, I would suggest.
No, I'd agree with that. I've had my business coming up for 30 years and people didn't talk about this 25 years ago, 20 years ago. But it's good that we're airing all of this in all sections of lives, not just in business. But I think children get more support now with their mental health than they used to. And employees need help with their mental health as well as the leaders. Everybody needs to be aware of it. So it's really good. The work you're doing is crucial.
Well, we often see that the women who we end up working with, either they don't recognise themselves as leaders. First of all, we always say, you know, everyone's a leader because everyone influences someone. But they'll come on thinking that feeling, oh my God, I'm a leader. I need to know the answer to everything. I need to do everything. And it's actually, we help them reframe what leadership actually looks like. And sometimes one of the big, I think it's kind of in our session 3 or 4 in our kind of open program that we run. It's about the importance of asking for help. It's not a weakness. And again, the importance, understand the strengths of yourself and those around you and go and ask for help. Everyone loves it when they are asked if they can help because it makes them feel good. So give that gift to other people. And that's often a real kind of impact shift.
That's really good advice, actually. Really, really. I was probably guilty of that a few years ago. I've kind of got myself over that now. So yeah, I think it's really good. And often your team have the very answers that you need anyway.
Yeah.
I find just putting it out there to them. And then all of a sudden you'll think, well, actually, this is why I have these people in my team because they are really
use them.
They do.
Yeah. That art of delegation, it's really important. And you're not delegating stuff just to get off your rubbish list that you can't stand doing. There'll be people in your team who love doing the stuff that you don't. So use them.
Very true. Yeah. Great advice. Okie doke. Well, I think now we're going to talk a bit about awards. And I'm interested to understand, you know, after sort of being in business for nearly 5 years, what made you decide to enter awards? What was the thought process behind that, Skye?
So we founded 5 years ago. As you heard, we came from very different backgrounds, but came together due to our passion and purpose about supporting women to feel that they're not alone. And that vision around empowering women to lead with confidence, build resilience at every career stage was so powerful for us. We'd lived it, we'd breathed it in different ways. And so we started that journey. And all of a sudden, we were at this kind of 5 years was coming at the end of 2025. And at the start of 2025 in January, we sort of thought about we have a strategy day. And we thought, actually, let's start to, apply for some awards because we've not done that. And we talked with our women and our alumni about celebrating. And to be honest, Debbie, it was also a great opportunity. We're guilty, all of us, I think, of being on the travelator of life. We do good things, we carry on doing things, we know we're making impact, but we sometimes forget to stop and pause. And the awards application and entries allowed us that opportunity to stop, to look through the last 5 years in great detail, because applying for your awards, Debbie, are brilliant because it really does go into the detail, which is fantastic. And it makes us just think, do you know what, we've done a lot. We've and it's not just us, it's our community, it's the RLE, it's CME, it's our amazing alumni as well along the way. So entering the awards was about recognition, maybe a bit about
just us recognizing who we are and sharing the amazing women in our alumni and what journeys they've been on, how they've grown in confidence in who they are and what they do, but also us on our personal journeys. You mentioned in your introduction, we both run our own individual businesses, but this was a really powerful, passionate, purposeful project that, as Alex said, was kind of a let's see kind of moment. And we realized it gathered momentum, it gathered legs. And, 5 years has now gone by, and we had that celebratory event in November after the awards. And it was just really powerful for us to stop and pause, to reflect, to then think about what do we want next for the next 5 years. So yeah, I think that I hope I've done that justice, Alex, but for us, I think that's where it was.
I think, to get to the finals on 2 award entries that you've done for the first time, I think that in itself should give you a big pat on the back, because the National Businesswomen Awards and the Best Businesswomen Awards are probably the 2 biggest female awards in the UK currently. And the amount of entries we both get, I know, is substantial. So I think that is testament to your hard work, determination, and the difference that you've made to people. So, Alex, let's talk about what's come out of being at these awards. What have you gleaned from it, and what has happened as a result?
I think one of the reasons that we wanted to have this marker is credibility. We can be telling and sharing with people what we do, and it's sometimes hard with the marketing, how to get the voice right. To make sure they realise how transformational and impactful the work that we do really is. So to have that credibility has been really helpful, to be able to say, award-winning resilient women leaders. It makes people realise, oh, okay, you've been around for a bit, you know what you're doing. So that has been really helpful, especially in networking events. I often now say award-winning resilient women leaders. So that's been one. Another thing that I think really it was so lovely being in a room of women who just, it's that network as well. So I think that's what being in the room on that award night, especially for us, has been. We've reconnected with some, and we're having conversations and learning about how they've grown their businesses, which has helped us question and think about more strategically how we're going to grow. So that's been really helpful for us. Yes, we've had some PR, which has been quite fun. Sort of local PR, that's definitely lifted my excitement and focus on, actually, is 2026 the year of PR? So I'm investing now a bit more of my time in how do I do a bit more of that, because Skye and I do have amazing stories to tell, and it's only when we come on podcasts like this and other people go, wow, your stories are really different, that we recognise that actually there is something to share, that because our purpose is about supporting women. So actually sharing our story can do that. So I think it's given us credibility, confidence, and the external confirmation that we are doing amazingly, we're doing good stuff. So I think that's
brilliant to hear. Brilliant to hear. Music to my ears, as they say. Which is one of the things, I'm just going to quickly mention this, why I always say to people, don't buy a whole table at an award ceremony.
No.
I get this all the time. People ring me and say, oh, I want a whole table. How much is it? Can I have a discount? And I'm like, no, there is no discount for buying a whole table, because those seats cost me the same. But secondly, I do that because I don't want to encourage people to buy a whole table. And people go, why is that? I said, because if you come as a couple, or maybe 3 or 4 in your team, I can put you with 2 or 3 other businesses. And I do work hard to try and think about who to put people with. And I said, this is a networking opportunity. It's not a Beano night out with your team. You can do that anytime. You've got to the finals of awards. And if you want to bring more members of your team, then scatter them around the room. Don't sit together.
We had a great table. And what was brilliant was we all celebrated each other. So we knew what each other's awards were. And we were just the biggest cheers, especially when, is it Maylene won.
Oh, Maylene. I interviewed her yesterday. Amazing.
We all felt like we'd won, because we were kind of part of that experience. It was incredibly memorable. And I must admit, we had one awards on the Thursday and we came to you on the Friday.
Friday out.
Friday for us was just amazing. It was a really special experience for us. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. So, we always finish the podcast by sharing some tips, and I think you've shared already a lot about resilience, which is great. So, 5 years down the line, Skye, have you got a tip to share with our listeners?
Oh, this is a really hard question, Debbie, because there's so many different things that I could go down here. I think, though, to be honest, for me, a tip would be get really clear on your purpose and be consistent. And when we got that purpose of empowering women to build confidence, lead with resilience at every career stage, everything then was in service of that. And then being consistent about that. So since then, we've delivered 3 open programs a year on RWL, 4 Renew You programs a year. We've been consistent. And yes, there's tweaks and innovations that come along, but it's also consistency. Alex and I meet every Monday morning without fail. And it sets us up really nice for the week. It holds each other to account. So for me, I think there's a piece around consistency, and it allows you then to say no, to have confidence to say no, so that you say yes to the things that matter. And that's leading with intention. And that's a huge part of the values that we bring as resilient women leaders. So yeah, I think we know we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So actually being consistent, having accountability, and really reflecting on how you show up and want to show up, that would be my top tip for the end of today.
Great advice. Alex, would you like to add to that? Anything that you found that's helped you?
Well, I think for anyone out who's listening who is collaborating, and there's 2 of you in a kind of relationship, what has been amazing for Skye and I is that we're both at slightly different stages of life. I mean, my kids are kind of teenagers, where Skye's got small, sort of younger kids. We know when to step up and we know when to step back in support of each other. And that goes back to what Skye was saying at the very beginning about what resilient leadership looks like. It's understanding your strengths, knowing when to step up, knowing when to step back. And that has been something that, 5 years in everybody's lives, there, we have ups and downs, and we've really needed, I've had a few times when Skye said to me, do you need to do that now? You can leave that till next week. It's not a priority. And that's when I've been in overwhelm, and sometimes clarity it's not there as much. Having someone else to be able to say, you're doing a good job, step away from it at the moment. I'll take this on, I'll do this. And we do it for each other all the time. So my top tip if you're in a team or anything like that would be know when to step up, know when to step back. Do not let your ego get in the way, because that causes so many problems. So I think that's what's really helped with the consistency, so that we can keep, returning for our clients as well.
That's really good advice. So just to end, what's the future, Skye, for your lovely team that you have together? What's on the cards for the next year or so?
So I think it'd be wrong of us not to state that obviously 2025 was about entering awards. 2026 is about hopefully entering more awards, and maybe even winning would be amazing. But Alex mentioned there about collaboration. We are Resilient Women Leaders is about being a trusted partner, a trusted collaborator. We run open programs as well as for organizations. So we want to continue to get our name out there and know that we can deliver positive impact, transformational impact, to really support women to feel empowered, to be confident in who they are and what they do, and get to our 10-year anniversary.
Amazing. Is there anything you want to add to that, Alex?
I think if anybody's heard or felt connected with anything that we have said, one of the biggest sort of things that, as RWL is our programs are open, and like many of your listeners, I'm sure that they're constantly trying to market and sell. And we, our open programs, when people come our way, it's that word of mouth. So if anybody would like to know more and come on our programs, then we'd love to speak to you, because it's we know the impact. We're trying to tell the best story to share that impact and get our alumni to share that impact. And that's how we're going to consistently be filling our programs over the next 5 years till we get to our 10-year anniversary. So we're always going to be there. and more people that show up and come and join us on our journey, the merrier.
Well, it's been incredible talking to both of you. I feel like I've got this real dose of kind of enthusiasm and it really comes at me. The two of you are just incredible women and a real, I think, inspirational to other women out there. The journeys that you've both been on and where you've reached today, I think, is testament to the programs that you run and yourselves and implementing that stuff for yourselves as well. So thank you for joining me today. We will make sure that the details of your programs are in our show notes so people can contact you for advice and support. I am sure that we're going to be seeing you on the award stages much, much more in the coming years and reading about you on the press. And you never know, you might even be sat on the sofa and this morning or one of the breakfast channels, breakfast shows, because I can see both of you talking about this because it's such an important topic for women. And I think that the more publicity we get about resilience, the better, because we've got a lot of things coming at us all the time. And we need to build that resilience in order to carry on progressing. So thank you very much for joining me. And I wish you every success on your business journey.
Thanks so much, Debbie.